My sister made me install cameras in my car after her assault. I thought she was paranoid until my driving instructor disabled them and attacked me. 7 years later, he's out of prison and just applied to teach my daughter's driver's ed class. When I was 12, my older sister was assaulted by a police officer who pulled her over. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks and never told anyone what happened. She just kept saying he had a badge. No one will believe me. The bruises on her wrist told their own story. She wouldn't let anyone touch her for months, flinching whenever someone moved too quickly or spoke too loudly. For years after that, my sister became obsessed with recording everything. I had to FaceTime her whenever I went anywhere: grocery store, park, gym. She'd make me show her the parking lot, scan the aisles, and keep the camera on, even in bathroom stalls. My life was dictated by a fear that wasn't mine. So when I turned 16, she got me a used Honda Civic. Before handing me the keys, she installed 4 cameras: dashboard, rear view, and 2 hidden ones. It took her 3 days and a dozen YouTube tutorials. She made me promise never to turn them off. "You're being paranoid," I told her. "Not every cop is bad." "It's not about good or bad," she said. "It's about evidence." At school, everyone thought it was weird. My friends didn't want to ride with me. My boyfriend broke up with me because he said it felt like my sister was always watching. My driving instructor was Lieutenant Morrison. Lieutenant Dan, ex-military, ran the best school in town. My mom said I was lucky to get him. On our 3rd lesson, he noticed the cameras. We were practicing lane changes when he asked if my parents installed them. I said my sister did. He pulled into a rest stop. "How can I teach if I'm being watched?" he said. "State Regulation 247.3. I can show you how to disable them temporarily." I let him. He unplugged a few wires, said we'd reconnect them after my test. My final lesson was on a Thursday. He said he knew a better spot: an old DMV testing lot by the industrial district. Cracked asphalt, rusted fences, no one around. "Let's work on your 3-point turn," he said. But when I put the car in reverse, he grabbed the wheel. "Let's talk about respect," he said, his voice low. I reached for my phone, but he already had it. "You gave me the one thing your sister couldn't protect you from: your trust." The rest was a blur. I remember screaming. His breath smelled like coffee and medicine. I got the door open and ran. A woman at a gas station 2 miles away called 911. When the police arrived, he and the car were gone. They found the car 3 days later, wiped clean, but they found 7 other keys in his garage, cars from students. Each had a tag with initials and dates. 3 girls came forward. The others were too scared or had moved. The detective said he chose students with protective families because he knew we'd want to prove we didn't need protection. But I wasn't worried. That wasn't the only camera. My sister had hidden another one in the rearview mirror, uploading directly to cloud storage. I found out when I got home. She was waiting, laptop open. When I told her, her face went cold. She pulled up the footage. Lieutenant Dan grabbing the wheel, taking my phone, saying I was like the others. She didn't hand it over immediately. She made backups, uploaded copies, burned disks. "They lose things," she said. "Always have backups of your backups." The detective, Rodriguez, watched the footage 3 times. Within an hour, they had a warrant. But Lieutenant Dan was gone. His driving school was closed. His car was found at his brother's house, but he'd left an hour earlier. Someone tipped him off. My sister started her own investigation. Social media, public records. She found 6 towns where he'd opened driving schools. Always glowing reviews. Then sudden closure. But there was bad news. His lawyer argued the footage was inadmissible. I was a minor, didn't consent. My sister lost it. Threw a glass, screamed. Then she got quiet. She told me to pack. We were going on a road trip to find the other girls. She had the initials from the key tags and DMV records. She worked through the night. Our first stop was a college town. Jessica, 4 years ago. Her mom answered the door, suspicious. Jessica didn't want to talk. But when she saw the footage, she broke down. Same story, same empty lot. She gave us her journal, dated and detailed. Her therapist had suggested it. Next was Amanda, 2 states over. She lived in a secure apartment. Said she couldn't testify. Her fiancé didn't know, but she gave us a USB with security footage. His car near the scene. Not proof of assault, but proof he lied. We spent a week on the road. 7 girls across 3 states. 3 willing to testify. 4 gave us evidence but stayed anonymous. Photos, journals, texts. 1 girl, Maria, had audio. Him saying, "This is how girls learn." When we brought everything to Rodriguez, she escalated it. A full task force, a statewide investigation. They arrested him in another state under a new name, trying to apply for another instructor license. At trial, I testified. So did Jessica, Maria, and 3 others. His lawyer tried to twist it. The judge wasn't buying it. He was found guilty on all counts. When the verdict was read, my sister didn't cry. She just exhaled. I reached for her hand, and for the first time, she didn't flinch. People asked if we felt justice was served. I said yes. My sister said, "Justice is what you fight for. Safety is what you build. And we're not done building." Could hear her crying. Could hear the car doors locking. Each meeting with the girls was different. Some chose public places, coffee shops, libraries, parks. Others invited us into their homes. One, Sarah, met us at her church after hours. She said it was the only place she felt protected enough to talk. Her voice echoed slightly in the empty pews as she told her story. My sister organized everything, color-coded, indexed, cross-referenced. She made copies at 24-hour print shops to avoid digital trails, sent files to Rodriguez, uploaded them to secure servers, even mailed a set to her aunt, a paralegal in another state. She was building a case the police couldn't ignore. Each piece of evidence was logged and verified. She created timelines, maps of his movements, and charts showing how he selected victims. But Lieutenant Dan was still missing. His brother claimed he'd gone camping. Rodriguez had alerts out, but he'd vanished before. He knew how to stay hidden. My sister grew more frustrated. She barely slept. I'd find her at 3 a.m., staring at her evidence boards, searching for patterns. Then she had an idea. Terrible. Dangerous. She wanted to use me as bait. Pretend I wanted to drop the charges and get him to come out of hiding. I told her it was crazy. Rodriguez would never approve it. We argued for hours. She insisted it was the only way. I said there had to be another option. But she wasn't planning to tell Rodriguez. She'd already posted feelers on driving forums, posing as a student looking for a new instructor after a misunderstanding. She used a fake name but dropped enough clues for him to notice. She bet his ego wouldn't let him ignore it. I should have stopped her. Should have called Rodriguez. But part of me wanted this to end. I was tired of jumping at every car that looked like his. And my sister promised it'd be safe. Public place. Lots of people. She'd be nearby. Contingency plans on top of contingency plans. What could go wrong? I should have stopped her. Should have called Rodriguez. But part of me wanted this to end. I was tired of jumping at every car that looked like his. And my sister promised it'd be safe. Public place. Lots of people. She'd be nearby. Contingency plans on top of contingency plans. What could go wrong? 3 days later, we got a reply. Not from Dan directly, but from a friend recommending an instructor great with nervous students. The writing was familiar. Same condescending tone. Same emphasis on trust and respect. My sister set up the meeting at a busy downtown coffee shop. 2 p.m. she'd sit nearby. Rodriguez would wait in the parking lot. We told her Dan had reached out to me. She didn't like it but agreed to have units nearby. My sister had already scouted the place, timed exits, checked sightlines. I got there early, ordered coffee I couldn't drink. My hands were shaking. She sat 2 tables away, disguised, eyes on me, fingers near her phone. The shop buzzed with normal life. No one knew what was about to happen at table 12. He walked in at exactly 2 o'clock. Same khakis, same polo shirt with the now defunct school logo. He looked older, tired, a little gray, sat down and smiled like nothing had ever happened. He made small talk about the weather, calm, polished. You'd think he really was a teacher meeting a student. Then he started in, misunderstandings, paranoia, how he'd taught for 20 years without a single complaint. Said my sister had filled my head with fear. Said he could help me see clearly if I'd just trust him. His voice was smooth, hypnotic. I saw how other girls could have believed him. I wanted to scream, but I had to keep him talking. Rodriguez needed something incriminating. I played along, asked why he'd disappeared if he'd done nothing wrong. His face changed, just for a second. The mask slipped. Then it was back. He said his lawyer told him to lay low. Called my sister unstable. Reached across the table like he might touch my hand. I forced myself not to flinch. That's when my sister stood calm. She walked over, set her laptop in front of him, played the footage. Him grabbing the wheel, taking my phone. Crystal clear. Zoomed in on his face. You could see the moment he decided to take me to that empty lot. He went pale. Tried to stand. His coffee spilled. But Rodriguez was already there with 2 officers. They'd heard everything through the wire I was wearing. Combined with the footage and the other girl's testimony, it was enough. The arrest was quiet. No struggle. Just I want my lawyer. He glanced back at me through the window. Not angry. Disappointed. Like I'd failed some twisted test. The trial lasted 6 months. His lawyer claimed the footage was fake. Said the girls copied my story. Said my sister had orchestrated it out of her own trauma. But the evidence was overwhelming. 7 girls. Similar stories. Documentation going back years. A key collection he couldn't explain. Jessica testified via video. Amanda submitted a written statement. Maria allowed her audio to be played. One by one, they confirmed the pattern. Empty lots. Fake lessons. Disconnected breaks. Dan took the stand. Tried to sound noble. Spoke of trust, respect, how he helped young drivers. Brought medals, thank you letters. But the prosecutor cut through it. Asked about the keys, the closed schools, why his victims all had protective families. He actually admitted that part. Said overprotective families created nervous drivers. Said he had ways to help them relax. The prosecutor asked if those methods included isolation, disabling safety features, physical assault. The jury took less than 2 hours to convict. 7 counts of assault, 3 of kidnapping, 1 of auto theft. Guilty. At sentencing, the courtroom was packed. More girls had come forward. Too late to testify, but they came anyway. Silent witnesses. 25 years. Not enough, but enough to keep him away from other girls. The judge called him a systematic predator. Thanked my sister for her documentation. Outside the courthouse, we didn't plan to meet, but we found each other. Jessica hugged me. Amanda cried. Maria just looked peaceful. We exchanged numbers. A support group born from survival. My sister didn't come. Said she didn't need to. She'd already won. She proved that being paranoid isn't crazy when you're right. I found her at home, finally asleep. She still keeps the cameras in my car. Still makes me use them. But I don't mind anymore. They're not about fear. They're about power. The power to prove what happened. The power to be believed. After the trial, Rodriguez pulled me aside. Said most victims never come forward. That our evidence was the most complete she'd seen in 20 years. Then she asked how we knew Dan would be at the cafe. I told her the truth about my sister's fake posts. She wasn't mad. Just smiled and said my sister would make a good detective. Said the system needs people who won't give up. My sister's softer now. Still careful. But she laughs more. Sleeps more. She even took down a few cameras in her own apartment. Not all, but some. Progress. She helps others now. Built a website for safety resources, hidden cameras, legal rights, how to document. Families reach out every week. Sometimes she finds them lawyers. Sometimes she just listens. She always says the same thing. Evidence matters. Documentation matters. Being prepared isn't paranoid.